Having been a wrestling fan for now over 20 years at this point, one thing that never gets any easier is seeing your favorite WWE superstar hang up the boots, ride into the sunset, call it a career, and retire. And you'd think after over 20 years of watching wrestling that I'd get used to it, but it sucks every single time. And I understand that that's just the cycle of a professional life. However, when it comes to wrestling, we tend to get maybe a little bit too emotionally attached to these characters. And some part inside of you tells you that there is just no way that they'll be able to replace that person in particular. And yet they always somehow do. And this cycle of retirement isn't going to end ever. And we are in a time and place right now in the WWE that we are seeing potentially the sunset of many top major WWE superstars. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you who I think is going to be retiring from the WWE within the next 5 years. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And I do videos standing up now. I'm that guy now, it seems. All right, let's jump into it. Why don't we just start off with the really obvious one, the one that's already been announced, that being John Cena, my favorite WWE superstar of all time, who has announced that he will be retiring and having his last match at the end of 2025. Not only that, but he's also announced that his last WrestleMania will be WrestleMania 41, and he did also mention that he will continue to stay in the lexicon of WWE, but as a background suit, not so much as the on-screen hustle, loyalty, respect, colorful t-shirt wearing John Cena that you know and love. As I've mentioned in this video and countless times in the career of this YouTube channel, John Cena is my favorite WWE superstar of all time. So me personally, this one is going to break my heart because he's been my favorite for a very long time. To me, he is the GOAT of the industry, and I've got to see pretty much every aspect of John Cena's career from beginning to end. Whether it was his countless championship victories, his unnecessary victories when he was Super Cena, Royal Rumble victories, even a Money in the Bank victory, and of course his countless WrestleMania main events and dream matches that he's provided me with. And although, yeah, I'm gonna be sad when John Cena retires, this is a childhood hero of mine. I understand that I look like a 43-year-old retired Dominican baseball player, but I'm 32 years old. So if you really wind back the clock, you can see that I grew up with the legend of John Cena from 2002 up to today. So yeah, there is going to be some sadness there, but there's also going to be a lot of happiness because a lot of these greatest of all time type of WWE superstars tend to overstay their welcome a little bit far too long. And I love that John Cena isn't going to be one of those guys. I love that John Cena is going out on his own terms. I love that John Cena isn't going to be putting his body on the line when he's 70 something years old in need of a paycheck. This is a guy that's already made it. He's already an uber millionaire. He's a Hollywood mainstay at this point. He's really just doing this to give me and all of you the send-off that we've been wanting to get from him. It's gonna be emotional, it's gonna be beautiful, but I'm just happy that he's getting to do it on his own terms within the next year and a half. Now, if you ask me, what do we do during the John Cena retirement tour? I think that we do need to make him the 17th time, and I think that he needs to become Intercontinental Champion so that he can have the Grand Slam victory, but on top of that, so that we can recreate the Intercontinental Championship or mid-card title open challenge that he did with the United States Championship to help elevate that lower card, mid-card talent. Man, I just know I'm gonna fucking cry when he says my time is up. I think another obvious one has to be Rey Mysterio within the next 5 years. That puts him at like 55 years old. On top of that, he's already a WWE Hall of Famer, has done it all. And frankly, I just don't think that there's another main event run ready for Rey Mysterio. He's really just done everything that needs to be done and done something that most people don't get to do, which is to prop up their next generation, their Dominic Mysterio, to be the one that carries the legacy of the family for the next generation. Similar to Cena, Rey Mysterio is the guy from my generation, and I'm realizing that this is maybe the best example that I'm getting old. Like, my childhood heroes are going to be calling it a career soon. Yes, I do joke about Rey Mysterio being the deadbeat dad that didn't get his perfect son, Dominic Mysterio, the car that he wanted, but in reality, when I take that character down a notch, Rey Mysterio is one of my favorite WWE superstars of all time, and I'm realizing now that maybe people tend to carry these characters throughout their life when they're the characters that they got to meet when they were a kid. And I mean meet as in watching them on TV, not like meeting them in real life. I actually did a homework assignment in like 2004 about how much I loved Rey Mysterio. Dude, I was such a geek. I still am. But with his style of wrestling and his age, at some point has to catch up to him. At some point, he's not going to be able to do a Hurricanrana. At some point, he's not going to be able to do a 619. And we're getting to the years where that is likely the case. This one's a bit of a weird one, but I got Logan Paul retiring from the WWE within the next 5 years. Not because he's getting old, not because he's not able to do the things that he's currently able to do within the next 5 years, but I think this guy's likely going to be a billionaire within the next 5 years. And if you're a billionaire, why put your body on the line doing springboard moonsaults when you've already done everything that needs to be done financially and professionally? I'm predicting that within the next 5 years, Prime is going to be bought out either by another giant like a PepsiCo or a Coca-Cola company, or maybe an entirely different industry will try and break into the beverage industry by buying up Prime. And I think that that purchase is going to make Logan Paul a billionaire within the next 5 years. And it's not as if he's just a YouTuber. Like, if I were to win $1 billion in some sort of buyout or maybe in a lottery, I could still be a YouTuber at the very least for fun. And maybe he finds wrestling to be a really fun outlet, but it's a very dangerous outlet that I just don't see somebody making or already having that much money willing to do. Mind you, he's already barely doing it as the United States champion. He only defended the darn thing 3 times in total. So if you think that he's going to make even more wrestling appearances the richer, wealthier that he becomes, I think that you might be a little bit delusional. Not talking about Logan Paul, the person, because I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding Logan Paul, but as a WWE performer, he's going to go down in history as maybe the greatest celebrity crossover ever in the history of the WWE. It's kind of crazy that we've had maybe the 1-2 greatest celebrity crossovers just within the last 5 years in Logan Paul and Bad Bunny. What a time to be a wrestling fan, Jesus. Part of me also thinks that the whole reason he's doing the WWE thing is to help elevate the price of Prime and help increase, the mental real estate that a brand like Prime could have on an impressionable audience of kids that watch wrestling or an audience of people that have spending cash, which is typically 18 to 34. And as it happens, kids and men and women 18 to 34 are the predominant demographic of the WWE. So it's been kind of genius marketing for Logan Paul. It's probably why they're the title sponsor for every WWE show known to man now. Maybe retirement isn't the right word. I think he'll just be done with wrestling within the next 5 years. This one probably hurts. And again, relics of my time. AJ Styles is just another one of those guys that's just getting too high up there in age. It would put him in the 50s within the next 5 years. And just like Rey Mysterio, this guy's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's nothing to prove. There's nothing left to be done. What is there left? AEW? But like, what is that proving? Would it be proving that he could go make a name for himself somewhere that isn't WWE? Already been there, done that with TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan. Like, this guy has literally done everything that there needs to be done in the world of professional wrestling. The second he decides to call it a career is the second he likely gets inducted into like 3 separate wrestling Hall of Fames, including the WWE one. But also similarly to Rey Mysterio, this is a guy that has a very particular moveset that I don't know works the older that you get. That being said, I think AJ Styles has doomsday prep for these latter years of his career by putting on size and slightly changing his moveset to be less high flying and to be more a combination of a flying bruiserweight type. But when this man retires, I think that there will be a genuine conversation that needs to be had that maybe he's the greatest in-ring performer of all time to ever grace professional wrestling. I think there's a debate to be had. I'm not saying that he is. I know people are gonna be like, Shawn Michaels, Santi, freaking Mark, whatever, man. I'm just saying there's a conversation to be had.
Batista powerbombs him here, right? Yep, he breaks his neck.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was right under the chin. Yeah.
Triple H did it. Oh.
That was a sneak preview of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively over on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week with the Match Club, you're going to be getting a blow-up doll versus Kota Ibushi. You're going to get the mega match of John Cena versus Batista at SummerSlam 08. We're looking at the incredibly dangerous Ultimate X match from 2009 TNA, alongside a hidden Ring of Honor gem between Shinsuke Nakamura and Kevin Steen, and a 3-on-1 handicap between all three members of The Shield versus CM Punk. This week, you're going to be getting all 5 of those watch-alongs alongside the podcast 3 days early, the Raw reviews, and the SmackDown review, and more. And you can get all of this content over on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. This is all extra content that never appears on the YouTube channel because, frankly, it can't ever appear on the YouTube channel. So again, go check it out. It'll be the top link in the description or the link in the pinned comment. I think that if you even just give the Patreon 1 month, that you're gonna fall in love with. I actually upload more on the Patreon than I do on the YouTube, which is kind of crazy to think about considering I upload daily here. All right, that's it for the sellout. Go check it out. Back to the video. This one would really suck, but I could see this happening. Roman Reigns retiring from professional wrestling within the next 5 years. This is a guy that at any moment could break into mainstream and go into Hollywood literally at the snap of a finger. He's got the ability and the connections to be able to do that. And it's not as if there isn't already a proven blueprint and formula for a top-level WWE superstar to make that jump from professional wrestling into the world of Hollywood. We've seen it plenty of times at this point, and we've seen it successfully with people of arguably lesser name than Roman freaking Reigns. If I got to decide the universe, and if Roman Reigns were to retire for one reason, I hope that's the reason. I hope that he gets to retire on his own terms because he wants to go do something else. But unfortunately, there's also the looming issue of leukemia and his cancer treatment, which is part of the reason why he has a much lighter schedule than everyone else. Again, if I'm the one dictating destiny, I hope it's retirement because he wants to go do other things, not cancer. That would suck. But the writing's already on the wall as well. When you look at his schedule, it's so light that you can make the argument that he's already semi-retired because he spends 4 to 5 months at a time on the shelf without appearing on WWE TV. So even though he's still like arguably the top draw in the world of professional wrestling, the WWE is ready with life after Roman Reigns because they've already kind of been living in 5 3-month stretches at a time. I think if he's still in WWE within the next 5 years, it could be in that Undertaker role where he's literally only participating once a year, obviously most likely at WrestleMania, or maybe even twice a year with SummerSlam also becoming a show that's trying to be on par with a WrestleMania. We'll see. I mean, we've already seen one retirement of CM Punk. I don't think that we're far away from seeing a second one as well. It all really depends on his body, and nobody knows his body more than himself. And unfortunately, we have been seeing him get injured time after time after time ever since returning to professional wrestling in AEW. And I have to imagine at some point or another, those injuries have to be catching up with you, of course, physically, but also mentally as well. It also does kind of feel like we are in an unannounced CM Punk retirement tour, doing the things that he wasn't able to do within the past 10 years that he was retired from the WWE. And we're already kind of seeing his potential next steps with his deep involvement in trying to mentor the next generation in NXT. I think he would be a great player in NXT in life post in-ring CM Punk. But similar to everyone else that we've spoken about on this list, really with the exception of Logan Paul, we're talking about somebody that would be in their 50s within the next 5 years. And again, it feels like we're in an unannounced CM Punk retirement tour. I just don't see a world where he decides to go on for longer than the 5 years that we're talking about in this video. He's already got the money. He's got a great life already set up for him, and he's already planting the seeds for life after in-ring CM Punk while still staying in the world of professional wrestling. I could personally see a world where Asuka retires from the WWE and goes off to live back in Japan. She's already accomplished everything that needs to be accomplished as an in-ring performer in the WWE. She's already heralded as one of the greatest female WWE superstars of all time. She is already a first ballot Hall of Famer, and you can already tell that they're starting to wind down the plans for main event Asuka, as they're already starting to propel other members of the women's roster around her as she is coming down in terms of prestige in the main event. I will say Asuka would make also a phenomenal manager as well. She just has this charisma and this ability to act with her facial expressions and her body that she's just so magnetic. And I feel like that would play really well as a manager in life after in-ring Asuka. To be frank, if you told me that R-Truth was still a WWE superstar within the next 15 years, I'd probably believe you. This guy just doesn't seem to age. But you can continue to cheat age as much as you want. At some point, age does win. And now we're looking at an R-Truth that would be north of 55 years old within the next 5 years. And then we can look at The Miz as well, because it seems these days like they're kind of a one unit package, but The Miz would also be getting up there in age, and he's already starting to wind down his in-ring career. I will say that with The Miz, he works in a very particular way that I think would allow him to continue to prevent injury and would allow him to maybe preserve himself into deeper ages as he gets closer to 50 or into his 50s. But this man's already made. This guy's already done it all. And on top of that, he's more of a personality anyway. He could be a WWE host. He could be a host of things outside of the WWE. This guy's gonna be ultimately still mega famous when he retires from in-ring action. I think kind of similarly to somebody like Asuka, I think that the time of somebody like Natalya in the main event is done, and we're already starting to see maybe a transition to being more of a mentor as she's spending more time in NXT than she has been on the main roster, which I think personally her as a trainer, a producer in NXT is a perfect role for somebody like Natalya when she decides to call it an in-ring career. I just think it would be a shame to just allow Natalya to basically just wither away doing nothing within the next 5 years, not being part of major feuds, not being part of any feuds. So I could see her making the decision within the next 5 years to call it a career and jump into training, producer, whatever it might be. And I'm confident that she would be incredibly respected in that role and incredibly successful as well. Would this even count? The Rock is already kind of retired, but what I'm trying to say is that I don't see any more in-ring action for The Rock after 5 years. I think that The Rock will get the Netflix deal off the ground running for the WWE, and then he's going to sit back in Hollywood and his TKO money and watch the WWE grow and his pile of money grow alongside with it. Also, I feel like The Rock just won't have anything really of true significance for him to do once Roman Reigns decides to call it a career as well. Again, already kind of retired. It's just that he came back semi-recently, but 2 years ago, I would have considered The Rock fully retired from professional wrestling. But it does beg the question, how much longer are we going to get the final bus? It's going to be bloodline rules in the WWE. I don't think it goes beyond 5 years. And last but certainly not least, I could see Sheamus retiring, but honestly, I almost didn't put Sheamus on here because of how incredibly regimented he is with his health and his workouts, that I could see him maybe lasting another 10 years because it doesn't look like age is starting to catch up to him yet, because he's still a beast. He's still putting on banger after banger after banger. And because of how disciplined he is with his body and with his health, I could see him lasting longer. But I think it would be borderline irresponsible to not at the very least mention him as a possibility to retire within the next 5 years, considering he would be in his 50s at this point. But look, I think this one could be a toss of a coin. I think it could go either way. All right, folks, that's it for this video. Let me know if there's anyone that you think I missed, or maybe somebody that I shouldn't have had on this list, but let me know. Okay, bye. Okay, get out of here.